just do that now. We know that Morel Belanger is our subject, so we're just going to take this reference here. And the easiest way to do this, to get our total number of votes for this election for Morel Belanger, is to simply come back to the ribbon and do an autosum. Now, it works nicely on this form, or actually, no, it doesn't. Sometimes AutoSum will give you the count all the way up to the top, which is, of course, the main result set. In this case, Excel has detected that there is some text interspersed with our numeric data, which, of course, is forcing the AutoSum to basically only go as high as, in this case, line 204. But in fact, our data set goes all the way up to line 2, right beneath the heading, the column heading, where we see our first poll result, poll number 1, where he got 89 votes. So what we're going to do is basically, for each one of these, the easiest way to do this is simply type in the number 2 into our formula right here. So we're now summing the values from cell D2 through 255, and we simply hit the Enter key. And of course, we find out that for this election, Morel Belanger got 23,567 votes. And we will repeat this process for each of them. And we can see here there's some text interspersed again, so we just do this. And then again, oh, okay, and here's another little trick. When you do this, when you basically increment by going right through all the columns, Excel makes a bit of a boo-boo and thinks you're trying to sum all the numbers to the left of the one that you're working on. So it actually is better to start at the right and work your way left, something that I unfortunately forgot this time around. But the same rule applies for each of these columns. You're going to do an L2 here, okay? And then we'll repeat that here. And again, you're just making sure that we're using line 2 as our start point for each one of these. And that's about it for this particular set of results. So now we have a complete set of analyzed results for election 39 in Ottawa-Vanier. And now let's see the results on our page. Wow, well, it looked like the NDP won that one. Well, actually, that's not entirely true. Some of these results will be correct, but in fact, you have to check each one of them because obviously, again, every template has a different data source, and those data source references are going to be inaccurate as they are referenced on the main page. So here we say we said that it's election 39 raw bang D256 is our reference. Well, we go there, and sure enough, D256 is correct. So we know that that number is correct, and it appears next to his name. For Paul Benoit, it says it's E256. Well, that one's going to be right again. Okay? Rick Dagenet somehow has, now here's what we have, a suspicious figure of 79,074. So what we probably did back there is I probably made some sort of mistake, and because Rick Dagenet did not get that many votes. In fact, we know if we look at the total votes over here that that's well over 20,000 more votes than there are in all the ridings that were cast. So that's not going to work for us. So we're going to have to basically try our autosum again. Oh, and see what happened here is that this character, it's somehow selecting D256. So what I did is I said take from D256 to E256, would have been 2 columns worth. It would have taken all of Paul Benoit's results as well and aggregated them against Rick Dagenet's. Well, that's not correct. So we're going to do our correction. And we can see here that, well, see, that still isn't right either. My goodness. It came all the way from D column, which is actually 2 columns over. So we still got to fix that. As I'm writing this, it's kind of late at night, so I have to forgive me for... So there we are. Okay, so there's a circular reference warning here. I guess because we've taken, we're on line 256 and we're referencing F256, so it's not going to like that. So, correct it, we'll go to 255 up here. Okay, we don't need that. And there we have our total. So now it's 12,145. So that's correct. And that's correct. And then Mr. Theron has 3675. That's correct. Now, all other parties, you have to be careful with this one. Normally, these won't line up at all, but I'm guessing because this probably was the very same writing template that I used to build the first Ottawa Vanier dataset, that these are lining up correctly, but it won't very likely do so for you. But anyway, this particular field, for all of the blocks, you'll see one here and you'll see another one here. Well, the other parties have to be a sum, right? So we're going to add up any of the parties that are not Liberal, Conservative, NDP, or Green will be, of course, other parties. And all their, in order for this to balance, we have to bring all those numbers in. So it says sum election 39 from G256 through H256. In this case, that works because the only other two candidates that were not explicitly listed on the summary page are these two. So we simply do a sum of those, and voila, we have our reference here. And then you have your unspoiled ballots. This is actually a calculation of summing everything down to this point. So this is a subtotal, basically. And then I insert, or rather we insert, our rejected ballots, which is again a reference on each of the Elections Canada pages. You'll see here a rejected ballots total. This total will always be here, okay, on all of the pages. And so for this particular election, it was 358. And then, of course, you take the total number for these two and sum them in this field. These formulas are already entered for you on this page. So you shouldn't have to re-enter anything at this point. And the total is 56053. Now, what you'll want to do is cross-reference that number with the posted results on the Elections Canada summary page for the 39th election. And that number should match. And I believe it does for this one. Finally, there's this delta column. What this is, this refers to, we have to enter some more data for this to be correct. But when you enter data into these fields over here, for the 38th election, a difference of score will be taken between the total here, the percent total, percent vote total, and here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to bring up an actual results page that, or a spreadsheet that was already created. So here I'll bring up the Ottawa Vanier historical data. So this is the completed spreadsheet. And you can see here that the delta, this is the full data, the full and complete data set. And because we're taking our percentage differences and we can see the full result set now, we see that Muriel Bélanger lost 6.74% total support from the previous 38th election on the 28th of June 2004. Now, as you enter in all of this data, as you go, you will see that there is a pie chart that is having its data added. And as you can see here, the labels that we see are being taken from